Hello and welcome to the channel. Henning Pauli, my name, but if you've watched some Synergy videos, you probably have seen me in some capacity talking about Synergy because you're good shit. So, Synergy recently released the JMP module together with Marshall, hence the gold.
I love gold!
I called it probably the Plexi to get right now. Why? Well, because together with the Syn 20 IR head, you have an amazing direct out recording solution, 20-watt amp that's loud enough for practice and possibly even live, especially if you got monitors on stage. You've got a clean channel and two identical channels. One could be crystal clean, brilliant Plexi, and the other one goes up into Eddie territory. Everything for about 1,600-1,700 euro. That's ridiculous. What are options on the market? Yeah, you could get a Friedman Plex, nice amp, but more expensive. You could get the Marshall, modified by Marshall, 1959 Plexi. That's going to be over 3,000, and it's going to still be loud and heavy and all that, and it's one channel. Same with the Plex. This is all those sounds in a much more manageable, small, double channel arrangement. Synergy's always been good. I've been with the system, promoting them, showing their stuff from the very beginning. And they were always good. They were always a solid product. They've done a few things lately that have pushed them way into past, this is almost as good as the original amp, to this is cheaper, smaller, and possibly even better. Which is tough to say. How is it better than the original? Sometimes it can be. With the Imperial, the ZREC, and the JMP module, they introduced the 0-watt power amp technology. Which means, there's a power amp in here, right? With tubes. Don't ask me which ones. They light up and stuff. But sound-wise, you want this to behave like the actual amp. You know, the squish, the sag, the drive from the power amp, all that. So they put kind of a power amp in here, I don't know how that technically works, that behaves like the actual amp's power amp, but without generating volume. Then the volume is generated here. But the sound volume, if you know what I mean, is generated in here. And once they started doing that, the ZREC module is amazing. The Imperial kills. This is perfection in a very small package. Now, they've pushed the system forward with that. So they're definitely not sleeping. Now, I was going to throw it over my shoulder. Let's not do that. Now they pushed it even further by working again with Marshall on the JCM800 module, which of course we all knew was coming. Once they had the JMP, obviously they had to have that. Now, obviously we're all waiting for a Jubilee, we're all waiting for a JTM, but let's talk about the 800 first. They found space in the modules to now add another tube, which brings the total count to 3. What that gives us, I don't know. I don't care. 3 tubes is more than 2. More is more, says Malmsteen.
Remember, less is more. And I always said, how can that be? How can less be more? It's impossible. More is more.
Exactly. More tubes is more. They have more options. But the point is, they're pushing it forward. 0-watt power amp, power watt zero technology, 3 tubes, all that stuff. I was recently at Marshall and had a little chat with their amp tester demo guy, and he said, have you tried the 800 module? I'm like, no, it's in the mail. I haven't tried it yet. And he's like, dude, it's good. There's the guy sitting in the Marshall factory in Milton Keynes, playing Marshalls all day long. Wow. So when I got it, obviously, well, I took it out of the box. JCM800,
800. JCM800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 800. 8
obviously, I plugged it in, and holy crap, was my mind blown. It just delivers pure, unadulterated rock and roll right from the get-go. Does it give you that very unique, low-end, chunky heft that an 800 gives you? Not quite like my modified 800 that I have, which is a brilliant rock amp, but extremely close, probably closer than a lot of other amps. This is a ridiculous 800. Also, 2 channels, switchable, MIDI controllable in terms of channel switching, IR output, different power amp topology, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it's that good. We're skipping some product shots because what do you want to see? It's just the thing. Let's go into the track that I recorded, which is British dirty punk. And why not? Because that's what the fuck you play with an 800. I want you what done by fun.
Council books and corner shops, race on flags and busted clocks, tea gone cold in tin white cups, kids on the bus just dimming up. God save the Moshpit, God save the board in the room. Raise up your surface, spit out the dust in the swamp. This is our chorus, scream from the back of the queue. God save the Moshpit, 'cause they never saved you. Paper crowds and plastic throws, history carved in student loans, golden frames in silent halls. We write new words on building walls. God save the Moshpit, God save the tired and the true. Bruise lunch blade knuckles, sing till your face turns blue. This is our chorus, spilled in cheap lager and glue. God save the Moshpit, 'cause they never saved you. Light up, heads down, say down, rip up that script, one shot, one campaign. God save the Moshpit, God save the lost in the view. Thank God for the accents, roaring a clock, thank you. This is our chorus, tattooed in black and blue. God save the Moshpit, 'cause they're saving us too. Ow!
And now that God has saved the Moshpit, we're going to go into the layout and then some sounds, and then we're done. And then you can buy it if you are already in the Synergy universe. If not, get the Syn 20 IR and whatever modules you want. I would recommend one of these if you want to rock and roll. Recently, there was a big video on John Simons' channel about our desert island amp. What if you can only have one amp? And my smart ass answer was Synergy Syn 20 IR with any module I can bring, because I can't just have an Imperial. That's an amazing clean sound. I can't just have a Plexi, which I love for also the sparkling cleans, but also the edge of breakup-y stuff. I need variety. This gives me all the variety in the world. So Leslie, let's show the front panel here. So we have 2 channels there, identical, which is usually what Synergy does. And you can see the 3 2-bits right here. Again, what does it do? I don't give a flying rat's ass. Just listen. So we have a low and a high input, which on the JCM is done with actually 2 plugs. Here you can switch and you can select it per channel. This is gain. Gain is how does it go. In typical boutique amps fashion, there is a bright switch, which is neutral in the middle. That's step 1, and that's step 2. With bright also comes gain. So it is not really just a bright switch. Careful, it also does get brighter, but clearly it adds gain. So it's a bright gain switch. And then we have, I can't even read this. Here we got bass, middle, treble. Sometimes I got treble, middle, bass, so I had to check bass, middle, treble for 2 channels, volume, and then presence, which is a little bit weird. I kind of expect the volume to be at the very end. Maybe there's a reason for it. Now again, the 0-watt power amp technology, you could fully crank up this thing to get the feel. Are we going to do that? Maybe. It might get loud. On the JMP, if you have it, careful. You have to crank the master volume all the way up to get the response of a real plexi and to get the cleans. If you dial that down, you're shrinking the headroom and the cleans will be harder to get and they're driving much faster. So if you want this to be a real plexi, all the way up on the master. If you want it to drive more in the power amp, go back, reduce the headroom. Very important to know when you're working with this. Don't know how it is on the 800. The 800 is not traditionally an amp where you're driving the power amp the same way you would do on a plexi. We have the following setup. Guitar, talk about it in a second. Pedal board. There's a tube screamer. We're going to push with this. There's a Brothers, which is, of course, a King of Tone. Bit of delay and reverb, and that's about it. That's going into the Syn 20R. The Syn 20R is going into this raw rock cap, which I just changed the front on, and it sounds really nice now. In the back, we're going out directly to the audio interface. We'll get those sounds in the end. I'm going out 8 ohm into the cap. We have nothing in the effects loop. Of course, there's headphones, USB, all that stuff, but it's not about the head. We've done this before. We're miking with the Sennheiser MD421 Compact and the N22 Nuovo by AEA, which is a beautiful ribbon mic, and then, of course, about a meter away in the room with the N28 Nuovo stereo ribbon mic, and we're mixing these all together, hopefully, for really cool sounds. I'm playing this thing, which you already saw on the track. Of course, I could play my beautiful Friedman Cali with 2 humbuckers and stuff, but you know what? This was easy to grab, and I told Sully, hey, I play this in some videos because he parked it here. And Sully, of course, John Sullivan from Sully Guitars, is one of the most lovely human beings you could ever have the honor of meeting and working with. He's parking this here until Guitar Summit. Look at this beautiful fretboard. I mean, I don't know how much this is. It's a 622. That's what it's called, because it's got, I think, 22 frets or something. I mean, it's pretty much a, rock and roll Strat. HSH configuration. We don't know where the wiggle sticking is. It's somewhere in France. Who needs that? Beautiful open hip shot tuners. It's a very nice guitar. Again, I don't know how much he asks for this. Put on a bit of effects here. And we're on the low input. Brightness is in the middle. Everything is up centered. Lydian! Already telling you that I think the cleans are better than on an 800. They're more brilliant, more AC30-ish. I don't know if that's in any way a correct thing to say, but that's how I'm experiencing it in this setup with this guitar and everything. Definitely, I would rarely go to my 800 for the cleans, but this is killer. And the bright isn't even in yet. On the same channel, you can do that. because we all know JCM800 is the jazz amp. While we're here, let's kick it in with some of the drives, like the Tube Screamer. That's just killer. It's just killer. The Brothers, a little bit more subtle here. And off again. And on again. Let's stack that with the Tube Screamer. Now, if you ask me, those are killer sounds, honestly. We haven't even touched anything, she said. So, we are still in the low input. Pedals off again. Now we're high-ing. High input. We're going to kick in bright 1. Beautiful bite. Not what an 800 would do, because it doesn't have the bright switch. But that's killer. What I love is it gives, I'm going to turn the effects off, it gives 800 vibes while being so much more with the bright right there. Turn that off again. And click it in. Double bright. So if you're gonna go for the metal, that's the Shia. Let's go back in the middle. And we crank that shit. Come on, let's push that with the Tube Screamer. subtle bass adjustments and mid. So subtle. I'm going to say there's a bit of a difference if you crank the power amp all the way up, or at least the power amp on the module, and then adjust with the power amp of the amp a little bit. So that 0-watt power amp technology does have an effect here, but not as much as you would have on the Z-Rec or the JMP. The sounds are just clear. I mean, that heft and that wall of sound from the JCM is absolutely there, but there's a clarity here that I absolutely love that a JCM doesn't have in that same way. There's a bite, there's something piercing that's just awesome. And if I go to the other channel here, I'm back to clean, if I so choose, right? And if I wanted to, I have the Synergy Clean as well right here. A very neutral clean. Absolutely insane. Now, quickly, let's go into direct sounds, which you've already heard, of course, in the track before. And we can, of course, change the IR. I mean, everything from really cool cleans, which I didn't expect on an 800, to edge of breakup-y stuff, to these wall of sound rock sounds. Is it super high gain? No. On the modified 800, there's a gain push switch. It doesn't really have this. There's a tight switch and a mid shift. They didn't include that, which makes this its own thing. You know, there's the 800, then there's the modified 800, which has certain modifications. And then there's this with these two channels and the brightness, the switchable input gain, you can get sounds that I dare to say an 800 doesn't give you. Can this sound like an 800? I'm going to say close enough. It has its own little feel, top-end wise, but that DNA is there, that you turn it on, you crank it up, and immediately you're transported into, let's just play those big-ass power chords over a boom-chuck, boom-chuck. You know, that's kind of a thing. It can absolutely do the 80s metal, which the JCM800 is known for. I mean, we haven't really done that, but I mean, let's do it. Why not? I don't know metal, but if I knew metal, that would have sounded good. It's just good. Will it replace your 800? Most of what you want your 800 for, it will replace. It will also add a lot more. The cleans, all that stuff you don't use your 800 for. Also, it's cheaper, even with the head. Also, it's more movable. Also, it has a DI out. So it wins. It's just fun. Synergy ups the game every single time. Now, 3 tubes, 0 watt power thing, official Marshall module. What the fuck else do you want to know? Links below, animals at the end.
I want J1 done by fun. Council books and corner shops, race on flags and busted clocks, tea on cold and tin white cups, kids